Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the next episode of the Australia house. Today we are already in the third episode of this house build, and it is the second and in fact also third animal that goes into the building. Today we are having the Cassowary and the southeastern blue tongue lizard, I guess. Is it the southern east blue tongue skink? I don't know. This exhibit animal, that's also part of it. Today we are going to build this habitat, and oh boy, this is insane. Like, this footage over here is sped up only 5 times, which is very unusual for me. Normally I'm between 7 and, well, let's say 10 times. And today the only reason why not is I've been in such a rush, in such a crazy flow, that I was so quick in building. When I was looking how long it actually took to build this habitat, I was like, oh wow, that's actually pretty short. And I think it's mainly because I was so much in this flow of building here. So I built basically the roos, the cassowary, and the building for the dingo in one day. So not everything in one go, but I had a break in between, did some nutrition, got some food and stuff, had some good time in between, had some drinks and so on, and then I went back on building. So that's kind of a little bit of a cool thing. Once you're in such a flow, it really works out well. And to be honest, there are so many little bits and pieces in here which I'm super proud of, because it really comes to this point in time where I really want to make this house super amazing and really detailed and stuff. So you will actually see in the next episode, where the koala area is built, that I had a very specific approach on that. And I really hope that you guys will enjoy that one, because it's going to be looking very fancy once it's all done. It's looking really cool, and as I already explained in the kangaroo episode, it is meant to be a little bit more of an exciting broken down look and feel, but yet a bit more modern, a bit more themed. And I think it really plays into the hands of what the developers thought about the pieces. So as I already talked about last episode, I think the pieces of this pack in particular are meant to be a lot more shabby chic, if you will. I think shabby chic is kind of a good word for it. It is definitely this kind of broken down, run down, cool ranch-ish style, which I think is really cool. And just in general, I'm super excited to show this to you. Now also, I wanted to talk about a few things here today in the cassowary habitat. I am such a big fan of this bird. Like, I told this already in the all-in-one overview, but damn, this bird, like, just looking at it is, first of all, the design is just outstanding. They did a really great job on it, but it looks so badass. I don't know, it's with the colors and stuff, and just like how it moves, it really reminds me of some very weird versions of the velociraptor, the feathered one. I don't know, it's just missing out on these claw hands and arms, that is what it's missing out on. But yeah, potentially you've seen already that I brought in one backstage door already behind the exhibit, the small exhibit. And one specific thing about this is you might wonder that you can't really get into, because this door is basically very cramped with the planter. But in fact, I have looked up some pictures, and I remembered also from my time in the zoo lately, sometimes these kind of entrances and stuff, they are really hidden away. So actually the zookeepers and the maintenance staff, they have to actually climb quite over some areas to get to the locations, because mostly they want to make the most of the space available. So it's kind of realistic to have that. And so I wanted to have this as well. This backstage door is mainly also there to support the to support the machinery and the humidifier in this habitat. I imagine, because this would definitely be in this kind of separate little room in behind. And talking of separate little rooms, we get this rock over here, which is at the same time our water source for this little water stream over here. And again, this one will also get a little backstage access, because I did remember that most of these things in real zoos have to be maintained as well. You just don't have a waterfall out of nowhere. It's not happening. It's just always connected to a pumping system or whatnot. So yeah, I was really trying to get this in here in a decent way so that it looks good, and we have this little water stream going in here, and at the same time I was just trying to make sure that this all looks kind of coherent and nice. And at the end I also figured, okay, we need some kind of scenery around it to support the looks of it, to make sure it doesn't look too weird just having this huge rock here. I mean, surely you could do it and then the maintenance would be somewhere else, but just imagine there is something else as well hidden in here. There could be some, you know, electricity stuff that is in there, or maybe even some other, I don't know, pipe work that goes here. So this is basically where you have the backstage access, and I made a little gate into the fence, as you can see over here. This is like the door that the staff can take, and then they will actually be able to go in there. It's like hidden away in this little corner, so guests potentially don't even see it. Once there is some foliage done, they will not have any kind of potential to see them. So yeah, again, it's also hidden. And then what I was doing over here is, yeah, I was doing an outdoor area, and this is going to be like a bit of a bird cage thing. And I just wanted to do this because I love the looks of these rusty pipework stuff, and I thought, okay, you know what, I have to do it because I just think it really helps selling the idea of this nice outdoor area, and it looks really cool at the end. Again, a little bit too blocky, maybe. I mean, I would have loved to have this a little bit more wide and just swooping and, you know, a bit more interesting to look at. But I always kept in mind that this building over here, as I said, has been like a bit of an older building prior, and then has been redone. That's the story about this whole house, that it has been redone after a time. So the whole interior is new, but this outer area over here isn't. So that is basically how it has been in the past, and so this is also why it's so rusty, and, you know, why it's also run down, these things over here. And then yeah, I brought in some ropes to make sure that they can't escape through these work over here. So I mean, the pipe work, sorry. I mean, the thing is, it's not like super bird proof, you know. It's basically this like big bird, non-flying, just high jumping bird proof, I think, if you will. This is not like a normal bird cage, but again, it could also be that prior to this the koalas have been living in that one, or they held some other animals in this particular cage, I wouldn't even call it. So yeah, it's mostly a little bit of an idea that I was carrying in here, so just to make sure that this all makes sense, and yeah, just helping myself here to make sure that this all is the same angle, so kind of using the same piece here to make sure it all looks good and just kind of coherent. I used the same fence as we used for the outdoor area of the kangaroos, and actually not because I'm lazy, but just to make sure that we kind of have the same story to be told, and it's from the same let's say a dynasty, or from the same time period, so to say, and just making sure that this all works together. And yeah, this is kind of the outdoor cage, as you can see, to also meet the requirements of the land area that they will need, and it's just meeting again the requirements. So all of the habitats in here will just be meeting exactly the requirements the animals have, plus some offspring. So you'll also be fine having a little bit of offspring in there, so it's not really dramatic if they get some babies. So and the only animals that run danger of being a little bit of a bigger population are the kangaroos, in fact, because they can live in a bigger group. All the other animals from this pack have a very low group size. Well, actually that's not true. The dingo obviously is exciting. So yeah, I think it's really good. It's really good that this works out this way, and I just kind of lost track here. It's just a little bit exciting to talk about this pack, so much about this to you guys, because I'm just like binge recording and doing this stuff right now, and so I just lost track a little bit because I was like drowning in this build, because I remembered like how it was sitting there and just like building all of that. It's just so good. It's just so good. Okay, let's talk about what else is in this habitat now, because we are getting into the last let's say minutes of today's build, and I think it's really important to talk about what is in my mind for the next episode. So this will be the connection between the habitat for the cassowaries, and the one be just in next to it is the one for the koalas. But the koalas will be getting a little bit of a different habitat in comparison to the one I did for my Yosemite series. In case you haven't seen that one, I'll link this in the video as well, so you'll be able to find this. There is a way to find this pretty easily on my channel. I hope that you guys have already clicked it hard and have watched everything 10 times at least, you know, just to make sure you saw these damn amazing animals in action. But yeah, so it's really a different approach I will go. But now, just to finish up the build here on the cassowaries, we get this little bit of extra staff area here next to the building, which is tied to it. So as well, this could be a kind of a result of the redesign of the house, that this has been just brought next to it, just making sure it has a little bit of a backstage vibe to it here, putting some air cons on top of it. It will be finished in the next episode, just leaving it open to make sure that I have the connection. I just built a very cheap connection here just for the moment to make sure that they can bring in the animals, just because I needed to know what requirements exactly they have. So you will see a cut in a little bit that I am putting stuff in while the animals are already in. Here you can see they are there, and just making sure that we meet all the requirements they have and use the right plans right off the go. Because the cool thing by now is, I think Frontier changed a little bit of how the newer animals they brought in react to plants. So they have a wider range and wider variety of the plants they use. And also I believe that they actually increased the amount of biomes certain plants can be related to. So it's a lot more easy now to create a biome that looks somewhat related to the zoo that you're building in, as it was before. Because I think with the base game, you had a very limited amount of plants when you wanted to try to make sure that the animal exactly had the right plants in its habitat. So you always needed to just choose between 3 or 4 trees and then some shrubs, and that's about it. But now, as you can see, you have a wider range of plants that you can actually use. I mean, surely this is now mostly the stuff from this pack that I'm using over here, because it just makes sense to just do it that way. But you can see I can mix it up with some other foliage as well, which I think is really cool, and I think it really helps to sell the idea of this Australia house a lot. But the more you move outside again, where you can't really deal with the temperatures that easily as inside of the house, you gotta have to look into which plants would grow outside depending on which biome you're in. So pretty simple. I like that the fact that the game offers you this. I would love to, you know, I mean, this is going a little bit too far, but they have a heat engine in this game, heat and cooler engine. I would love if certain plants just could not be placed down if this area has not the right conditions. I mean, this level of management is kind of crazy, I know, but I think this would add another wonderful layer of realism to a game like that, you know. I think in Planet Coaster it wasn't that important at all, because, you know, it's a theme park and they also use a lot of fake trees. But, you know, for the animals, you barely would use any fake trees or fake plants so much. Like, you would use them potentially for the guest area, but not necessarily for the animal area, because you don't want them to be eating plastic and stuff, you know. That's the main reason why. Here you can see, by the way, again, the new sliders they integrated, which I think is a brilliant change, and some of the other changes they did are as brilliant as this one. So yeah, I just think this is worth another mention. But yeah, you can see this is how this habitat just turned out. Just some little last bits of making this look final by putting down a little fence here, making it not too perfectly straight, just a little bit wonky. But yeah, so I really hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Let me know in the comments down below how much you like this cassowary. Do you think it's a good addition? Are you missing out on any other animal from Australia? Which would have been the replacement? Which animal would you have replaced from your choices? I would love to know that, because I didn't ask that yet. But yeah, so that should be it from my side. I really do hope you guys enjoyed today's episode a lot, and then I will talk to you in the next one. Have a good time, and goodbye everyone. Thank you for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. I really hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I was really happy to have you here. In case you enjoyed it and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to consider subscribing. You can do it via this button here, and if you want to see more, there's some cool other stuff linked here for you. This is suggested for you personally. That's pretty cool. And in case you want to support the channel a tiny bit more, you can do it via this wonderful Hype Camel link over here. I really would appreciate it. And also big thank you already to all the people who do already support the channel. Really do appreciate that. But now have a wonderful time, guys, and I catch you in the next one.